stop? What if I told you that Allah is trying to reach you urgently? Not through a dream, not through a vision, but through your love life. Yes, you heard correctly. What you feel right now, this pain, this confusion, these blockages in your relationships, none of this is a coincidence. Maybe you're chasing someone who isn't meant for you. Or maybe Allah is putting you up against a wall because He wants you to finally open your eyes. But the worst? Many ignore these signs and end up destroying their own destiny. So if you've ever felt that something is wrong in your love life, that things aren't working out despite your best efforts, listen carefully until the end. Because what you're about to hear today could change your life forever. It's done. 1. Love. A test or a blessing? Love. This word that makes hearts beat, that haunts minds, that occupies the prayers of so many people. But tell me, have you ever had the feeling that something is wrong, that despite all your efforts, despite your invocations, your hopes, nothing seems to go as you would like? Maybe you're in a relationship, but a void persists, a discomfort, a feeling that something is not right. Or you are alone, and every day you feel this lack weighing on your soul. What if all this wasn't a coincidence? Think for a moment. What if Allah tried to talk to you? Love can be a blessing, a refuge where the soul finds rest and serenity. But it can also be a test, a storm that sweeps away everything in its path, that breaks you from the inside, that leaves you in incomprehension. So which one are you experiencing right now? Take a good look around you. Does your relationship elevate you spiritually? Does it bring you closer to Allah, or does it push you away from Him without you even realizing it? If your heart is at peace, if your love nourishes your soul and your connection with your Creator, then know that it is a blessing. But if, on the contrary, it deprives you of serenity, if it takes you away from your spirituality, if it leaves you in anguish, then perhaps this relationship is not a gift, but a test. Allah always tests those He loves. It may be that this person you are pursuing so fiercely is not the one who is destined for your happiness. It may be that this silence you feel is not a punishment but a protection. Your loneliness may be a reminder, a call to rebuild your heart before you want to entrust it to someone else. But the real question is, will you listen to these signs? Or will you continue to ignore the warnings, to force what is not right for you, to insist on a relationship that distances you from Allah? Because love, when it is sincere and aligned with what Allah wants for you, does not destroy you, it builds you. So take a moment. Ask yourself the real question. Is your love a blessing or a trial that you refuse to see? 2. Repeated obstacles. A clear sign from Allah. Have you ever noticed a repeating pattern in your love life? Sudden breakups, inexplicable misunderstandings, relationships that fall apart just when you think you found the right person? Why does this happen to you again and again? You might think it was coincidence, that you just haven't found the right person yet. But what if these successive failures were not an accident? What if instead of being a simple chain of unfortunate events, they were actually a divine message, a silent warning that you haven't yet understood? Allah never closes a door without reason. When you look at your past, do you realize that certain people you loved left you suffering? That despite all the affection you had for them, they took you away from your inner peace? So why do you want to force what was perhaps not meant for you? Allah is Al-Hakim, the All-Wise. If He keeps someone away from you, if He places barriers in your path, it is not to punish you. It's to protect you. Imagine running behind a locked door, knocking again and again, begging for it to open. even though Allah knows what is behind it. Maybe a misfortune, maybe a relationship that would break you even more, maybe a love that would take you away from Him. So are you going to keep knocking, or are you going to finally realize that this door is closed for a reason? Every failed relationship, every person who betrayed you, every obstacle on your romantic path, it all has a but. Maybe these breakups are tests to bring you closer to Allah. Maybe He is preparing you for something much greater. But the question you must ask yourself is this: will you continue to chase what escapes you, or will you finally turn to the one who holds your destiny? The signs are there. You see them, but do you really listen to them? 3. True love, what you are really looking for. In our frantic quest for love, we sometimes seek to fill an inner void, thinking that the love of another person will be enough to repair what we feel is incomplete within ourselves. But have you ever taken a moment to ask yourself what you're really looking for in a relationship? True love does not lie in a simple emotional connection, nor in a physical attraction. It's much more than that. It is a gentle light that illuminates your heart, a love that does not just fill a temporary void, but nourishes your soul and brings you closer to Allah. But how can you discern this deep love if your heart is saturated with fleeting desires and illusory expectations? Allah, in His infinite wisdom, says exactly what you need. Maybe He delays sending you the person you want, because He first wants you to learn to love yourself, to purify yourself spiritually, to strengthen yourself internally. He doesn't want you to be in a relationship by default, out of despair, but that as a fulfilled person, you are able to welcome a true love that will elevate you, and not a love that will consume you. The love you seek, dear friend, must be in harmony with your essence, your soul, and above all, your bond with Allah. You cannot hope to receive pure love if you have not first worked to purify your heart and mind. If Allah delays, perhaps it is because He wants you to be ready to receive this love, which will not be a burden, but a blessing. A love that will not move your heart away from Allah, but will bring it even closer to Him. So, ask yourself this crucial question: are you really looking for someone who will nourish your soul? Or are you simply looking to fill a temporary void, a need for companionship, a desire for external validation? True love is not found in the urgency to fill a gap, but in the patience of waiting for the person who will enrich your life in a spiritual way, and who will remind you every day of the beauty and greatness of the love that Allah has for you. 4. Is your heart ready for the person Allah has planned for you? Have you ever considered that the real reason the right person doesn't seem to come into your life yet might not be a delay from Allah, but rather an unpreparedness of your heart? True love is not a simple coincidence or an encounter that happens by chance. Love is a sacred trust, a divine gift that requires deep spiritual preparation. Allah will not put a pious, responsible, and sincere person in your path if your heart is not yet capable of welcoming Him with wisdom and wisdom. If you find yourself constantly clinging to toxic relationships, attachments that only take you away from inner peace, if you pursue haram relationships, how can you expect Allah to send you pure and blessing love? Allah will not give you a precious pearl if you are not ready to cherish it, protect it, and treat it with the gentleness of divine wisdom. The preparation for true love does not lie in the frantic search for someone. It is found in your inner work, in the care you take in your relationship with Allah. It is in your daily purification of your heart, in your sincere intentions, and in your desire to grow spiritually, that we find the true preparation for the love that Allah has planned for you. Taking the time to focus on yourself, improve your own spirituality, eliminate emotional toxins, and heal your inner wounds is essential. A pure heart, free from resentment, anger, and superfluous desires, Is a heart ready to welcome pure love? If you are not ready to offer love, to invest in a truly healthy and constructive relationship, how can you expect Allah to put a person with these qualities on your path? Your ability to welcome the love, that your desires depends on the purification of your soul. This is not done by seeking at all costs, but by getting closer to Allah, by becoming the best version of yourself. If you are ready to receive Allah's love and grow in your faith, you will be ready to welcome the one He has planned for you, a person who will not only complete your life, but guide you further towards Him. 5. The ultimate test. Will you listen or ignore Allah's message? Now that you have heard all this, will you continue to ignore the signs that Allah sends you? Allah is speaking to you through every emotional failure, through this waiting that eats away at you day after day, through this pain that never ceases to remind your heart. He is trying to reach you, but the question is, will you pay attention to His signs, or will you continue to ignore them, to erase them to continue your own will? He calls you to see beyond the superficial, to look further than the frantic search for love which only masks inner dissatisfaction. He invites you to refocus on Him, to re-establish this spiritual connection before looking elsewhere for what only His true love can offer you. Are you going, once again, to force relationships that make you suffer? Relationships that take you away from the best that He has prepared for you? Will you continue to look for love where it is only an illusion, where it can only bring you frustration and confusion? The heaviness you feel today in your heart, this silent pain, is not a coincidence. It is a call from Allah, a call that asks you to come back to Him, to stop and review what you are really looking for in your love life. You still have a choice. Answer this call now, before it is too late. Before Allah closes a door that He opened for you to protect you. Every moment you spend ignoring His signs brings you a little closer to a greater pain, that of realizing too late that you have refused divine guidance. But if you choose to respond to this call, you can begin today to elevate yourself spiritually, to purify your heart, to let go of what does not serve you, to receive the blessing and true love that Allah wants to offer you. The ultimate test is here. Are you going to listen? Will you finally understand what Allah is trying to tell you? Don't miss this chance. Now everything is in your hands. Allah has sent you signs again and again. But the real question is, are you finally going to listen to them? What you do after this video can change everything. Will you continue to hold on to bad relationships, to ignore Allah's messages, to pursue love in places where it will never bring peace? Or will you take a moment to think, to refocus on what's really important? Don't let these words fade from your mind once the video is over. Act now. If you want to understand in even more depth what Allah really wants for your life, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications. Because the next messages you hear here just might be just what your soul needs. And above all, share this video with someone who might need it. Because sometimes a simple message can wake up a sleeping soul. Are you going, once again, to force relationships that make you suffer? Relationships that take you away from the best that He has prepared for you? Will you continue to look for love where it is only an illusion, where it can only bring you frustration and confusion? The heaviness you feel today in your heart, this silent pain, is not a coincidence. It is a call from Allah, a call that asks you to come back to Him, to stop and review what you are really looking for in your love life. You still have a choice. Answer this call now, before it is too late. Before Allah closes a door that He opened for you to protect you. Every moment you spend ignoring His signs brings you a little closer to a greater pain, that of realizing too late that you have refused divine guidance. But if you choose to respond to this call, you can begin today to elevate yourself spiritually, to purify your heart, to let go of what does not serve you, to receive the blessing and true love that Allah wants to offer you. The ultimate test is here. Are you going to listen? Will you finally understand what Allah is trying to tell you? Don't miss this chance. Now everything is in your hands. Allah has sent you signs again and again. But the real question is, are you finally going to listen to them? What you do after this video can change everything. Will you continue to hold on to bad relationships, to ignore Allah's messages, to pursue love in places where it will never bring peace? Or will you take a moment to think, to refocus on what's really important? Don't let these words fade from your mind once the video is over. Act now. If you want to understand in even more depth what Allah really wants for your life, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications. Because the next messages you hear here just might be just what your soul needs. And above all, share this video with someone who might need it. Because sometimes a simple message can wake up a sleeping soul.